Hey there, welcome back to Trad Rod and Custom. I'm Oliver, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the shop truck, my pickup, the 1976 J-10. You're not going to want to miss it. Some of you guys are familiar with this truck already. To others of you, it's going to be kind of new. This is my 1976 J-10. I bought this truck about 2.5 years ago, and the goal was to recreate my childhood a little bit. Now, I needed a truck, and my earliest childhood memories are riding around in my dad's 1976 J-10, so what could be better than getting one of those? I tracked one down one state away in Washington, and it was pretty cheap. It ran and drove. It was a 4-speed truck, which I wanted. It was manual hubs, which I wanted. I did not want the quadra-track. Only downside is it had no good seat and it had no floors. So I set about repairing the floors, patching them up, seam sealing them, raptor lining them, and then trying to find a seat to fit. And I ended up using a seat out of a 1953 Mercury, just happened to be the right width. But the problem was it really didn't fit right height-wise because of the transmission tunnel. Now, since that time, I've done some paint work. I replaced the windshield, and that really started the whole paint thing. I painted around that windshield, installed the new one, and then I started doing work one panel at a time. I painted the hood, then I painted this front left fender. I took the grill off, painted the core support and everything behind it. I cleaned up the grill and painted the stripes back into it. It's just been a little here, a little there, and that's how it's going to be until it's done. It's just a matter of getting it cleaned up, getting it that same color Dad's truck used to be. And, I still have the other fender to finish up and do. I've got to do the doors. I've got to do the rockers, the bed. The bed will have to come off. I mean, it's going to need some work. I also did a little work on the interior. The dash pad, I found another used dash pad. It was not in great shape, but it was in a lot better shape than mine was. Speaker grill still blown out and everything. Also got a gauge cluster out of a Jeep Wagoneer that was just pristine and swapped that out. So just trying to, not going for show truck, but trying to clean the thing up a little bit, make it nice, make it a good driver and enjoy it. And today we're going to work on that seat problem. Now, when I bought this truck, it had some holes in the floors, and it came with some like 2015 Dodge Challenger seats, bucket seats. It didn't look right. It didn't fit with the vibe of the vehicle. So I looked around through what I had, and I had this 1953 Mercury bench seat, which fit widthwise. But the issue that these trucks have is they have a really tall transmission hump. Now, that's because the transfer case and the manual transmission, everything, these things have, I got a PTO winch with this. So they have a big transmission hump to leave room for those shafts and things. The problem is a 1953 Mercury has a flat floor for the most part. Because of that hump, the seat has to sit about 4, 5, 6 inches higher than a stock truck seat would. Now, I was going to just make it work, but really when it came right down to it, here's the problem. If I'm even remotely sitting upright, my head's on the ceiling. And we all know how I like to wear my pointy hat. It doesn't really work out. So I need to get this seat about 4 or 5 inches lower. How am I going to do that? Well, I'll tell you the easiest way. Let's put a stock seat back in it. Now, I'll tell you, I've been looking for 2.5 years for one of these seats, and they are not easy to find. But just by happenstance, the other day I tracked one down, and the guy was willing to deliver it. It was on Marketplace, and it was a good price. Now I'll show you. Here's the reason why that seat sits so much better. It was just designed for this truck. And you can see how much lower that's going to allow the seat to sit. Now, of course, this is going to need reupholstered. We're not going to do that in this video. In this video, we're just going to get it mounted up and plant our butts in it and see how it looks and see if we're happy with it. But I don't see why it wouldn't be. So I'm pretty excited to see how this is all going to work out. Of course, you can tell this seat needs to be reupholstered. I'm not going to do that in this video, but we are going to do a video on that soon. And with our new commercial sewing machine, new to us, it's from the 60s, we're going to do a really nice seat cover for this thing that is going to match our nice tan new carpet, tan dash pad. It's got black door panels. The tops of the doors will get painted the same blue, but black door panels, tan carpet, tan dash pad. We're gonna get this thing all together. It even has the factory headliner. Not in the best shape, but you can see this seat that I put in sits too tall in the back too. Just all the way around, even though we customized it, it just doesn't quite work. And we need to make sure we leave enough room for our PTO control. Now, sadly, as you can see, that seat, coupled with some of the water damage we had, messed up our new carpet just a little bit. I'm gonna vacuum it, see if we can get it all cleaned up as well as we can. Part of the reason that we started down the whole painting process and replacing the windshield was because we had bad water leaks in here. There's two really common causes, though, of water leaks in these trucks. Probably the most common one is when the cowl vent fills up with debris. The drains for that are down in the kick panels here. So that debris, fir needles and leaves and crap like that, dirt, it collects up down there and makes a little seal, fills up those drain holes, and then you've got your kick panels full of water. And when that starts flooding up and filling with water, not only will it rust out all kinds of important stuff in here, but it'll tip up over and start flooding your cab. Some of what we were dealing with might have been related to that. Since then, I have shoved a vacuum down each of those sides. I got a long tube and taped it to the vacuum, shoved it down each of those sides, and sucked out all the debris, took the kick panels off, took the air vents off, the fresh air vents, cleaned all that out. But in addition to that, the windshield seemed like it was leaking. And on these trucks, right up here, there's a weird spot where the panels overlap, and they got a hole. Now, this is just like daylight hole that goes right into the cab. And it's supposed to be seam sealed, I guess, but 1976, these things get older, and that seam sealer dries up, pops out, and then you just have a hole up there. That's just like right at the end of your drip edge. So rainwater hits, rolls forward if you're parked, and right into this hole, right into the cabin. So anyway, all that aside, that steered me down the path of, okay, how do I address all of this? The windshield on this truck, it was already delaminating. It was in bad shape, and it was hard to see out of it. It probably had a layer about this wide all the way around the windshield. So you're looking through this little tiny hole to see out of the windshield. Everything else was like a clouded white. So it was time to do the windshield. I have a video on the channel. You should go check it out. I'll put a link in the description. But replacing windshield seals on these, replacing the windshield. Now, this is a reusable seal. It's a nightmare, but watching that video, if you're gonna have to do one of those, it's worth watching. But anyway, all that's fixed now. The holes are plugged. The kick panels are cleaned out. The cowl vent's cleaned out. The new windshield's in. Everything's been sealed. But that doesn't mean we didn't have water in here. Now, fortunately, we had water in here after I replaced all the floors and Raptor lined them. So that water got in here, and seam sealing too. That water got in here and it just pooled right on top underneath the brand new carpet. And while I did as much as I could to get that water out, there was some in here for a period of time. And that's why we have just dirt, debris, and some rust here from the seat itself, not even from the floors. But let's try to get it cleaned up, see what we can do, make it better, and keep moving forward, getting this seat in. Feeling pretty good about that. Now, one of the things we're going to have to address is the fact that I put those holes in the floor. I think I reused one bolt hole per side, but I added a bolt hole and I burned the carpet holes in to correlate with that seat. Now we're going to put this seat in, which is a stock seat, so the holes for this seat should already be in here in the floor. Might have to burn them in the carpet. We'll have to take a look at that. Now, what I want to do real quick before we put it in, I want to wipe down this seat. It's just a little dirty. The upholstery, again, is not in great shape, but I don't want to put a dirty seat in the truck. So it's going to come back out to get reupholstered, but we're just going to clean it up a little bit first. I'm just using some Myers. It's just a very gentle soap, you know, house cleaner. Not trying to get crazy with this. Some of you Jeep experts out there are going to recognize this already, but this seat's actually out of an older Jeep pickup. Now, they didn't change the cabs a whole heck of a lot, so I don't think there's going to be any real difference. But I believe this is out of a Rhino grilled early 60s. 1963-ish, I think, is what the truck was. So it's not exactly a 76 seat, as you might know from the upholstery pattern, but I think it's the same seat frame. Let's see. She's bolted in. Let's take a look and see how much better we fit. Now that's nice. My pointy hat fits, doesn't hit the headliner. I can even tilt my column down. Now this truck didn't actually come with a tilt column. I got this one out of a Jeep Wrangler, I think. I like this a lot better though. It doesn't feel like I'm looking down. Feels like I'm fitting in here real nice. Now I can tell, feels like one of the springs might be broken under my seat. In fact, the seller had mentioned something about that now that I'm thinking about it. But I'm sitting just fine. I'm feeling just fine. I'm enjoying this ride height right here. I don't feel like I'm jamming my legs under the steering wheel anymore. And I have the tilt option still, so I got tons of room now. Before, I could not tilt it down. It had to be tilted all the way up for me to fit in here. I'm happy. When I pull the seat out to reupholster it, I'm going to go ahead and fix that seat spring. But for now, it's not really bothering me. I feel pretty good about it. Yeah, I dig it. Let's pretty this thing up a little bit. Believe it or not, this is a real Mexican blanket from Mexico. Authentic. Upholstery complete. As Morsky says, it's good enough for the gal I roll with. So to conclude, we got it bolted into all the bolt holes that were factory except the front one on the passenger side. I'm gonna have to re-drill that and figure that out. When I repaired the floors, I did not rebuild the mounting location for the stock seat on that side. I didn't even have a stock seat to compare to, and it was all cancered out, so I left as few holes as possible. Just put holes in for the other seat because that's what I had at the time, but we're gonna figure that out, get all four corners bolted down so it's safe. Hey, the seat fits. It's awesome. It fixed the problem of sitting too high. I can wear my pointy hat without crushing the top. And we're gonna start driving this thing, working on it a little more. The paint work's turning out really great. Probably done with this warm season for paint work. Gonna get back on Dad's hot rod. That's coming up here next. Got a couple car shows we're gonna take the Roadster to still. There's including one that's right down the street. And you know, I'm happy. This project has been about not creating a show truck. It's about putting together a nice truck that's really just nostalgic for me. You know, my earliest memories as a kid, like I said, riding around with Dad in pretty much this truck. Not this exact one, because it was up in Alaska and that was a long time ago, but pretty much this truck. And I'll include a little funny story here at the end. Dad's truck had the cardboard headliner just like this one. It has like a paper coating on it, a white paper coating. One time Dad went into the grocery store and he left me and my niece, who's about the same age as me, it's complicated, left us sitting in the truck. And this is before booster seats, really, you know, like booster seats were for infants only, and they're like hard plastic things. Once you're out of those, you just sat on the seat. So we're just sitting in here hanging out. And of course, there were no laws back then about leaving kids in the car, and Dad didn't like getting asked for toys every time, so he'd leave me in the car sometimes. Anyway, we're sitting out here and there's just a little flap hanging down of this paper. And so we started peeling it. And while he was in the store, my niece and I peeled almost the entire headliner, just peeled the whole white coating off. It had strips missing everywhere. And he came out and they were all hanging like curly cues down from the roof. And he just said, "Oh my God, what did you do to my truck?" And oh Lord, I'll tell you what, I commend my dad just for how patiently and lovingly he handled that, because I can now sit and think about, what if my kids were in the car ripping my headliner out? Man alive, my kids probably would do it. And I tell you what, they say, I hope someday you have a kid that grows up just like you. It has happened to me. So I've had my fair punishment for my wild and rambunctious youth. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys enjoy this content on the truck, drop a comment down below. Let me know. In the past, when I've done videos on the pickup, it didn't really get a lot of views, didn't get a lot of positive attention. I don't know if that was just because the channel was early, or I'm not sure. But there's not a ton of content on these trucks on the internet. I think these trucks are really cool. They're rugged and they're tough and they last forever. They've got some rust issues, but besides that, I mean, when they built these trucks, they thought they would last 10, 15 years. Here, 50 years later, this thing's chugging, you know? I think they're neat. So if you guys think they're neat too, and you want to see more content on them, let me know in the comments. But either way, we're going to be getting back on Dad's hot rod primarily coming up here, get that body swap done. The goal is to get everything done this winter, this fall and winter, so that next spring we're putting paint on that thing. It's going to be really cool. And I'm excited for Dad to get to drive it next spring and summer. And my folks have decided to keep the 66 Charger for a little while. So sounds like maybe Mom will be driving that and Dad will be driving the 53 Coupe next summer, hopefully. And I'll be ripping around the Roadster, and we can all have a lot of fun together. But appreciate you guys watching. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. The Buy Me a Coffee link if you want to contribute to the channels down in the description. And I'll also include my other Jeep pickup videos, the links in the description down there. But I'll catch you on the next one. Later.